Redoset, you can call me Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. I want to remind you one thing about breaking through. A breakthrough is when you press on and you violate a restriction the public has enforced. Rashid, what do you mean, violate a restriction? Okay, let's say you go to the forest. Just a common forest out there. You can walk through it, right? Let's say you arrive at the forest and tell you you're not allowed to come here. You ask them why, because it's private property. But there is no markers over there, no fences, nothing. They just say it is. You can just walk on because they can't do anything. But what if they put a gun to you, point a gun and say, don't come here? Now, because they have a gun, you tend to consider what they're saying more carefully. What if but they can't carry a gun all the time. So what if they hire a gang to guard their claim? Or instead of a gang, there's a government guarding the claim with the police. Now it's still the same forest, but now there's a claim on the forest. Now there's a restriction of who can enter and cannot enter. It's still a forest. The individual with the claim will die one day, and the forest will still be there. And the forest was there even before the individual was born. And all the police officers, or if they use criminals, the criminals that guard the claim, they were born as little babies, will die too, and the forest will be there. So it's nothing but a claim they enact through a restriction, and restriction only works through violence. Now, that's how you need to see it. Society has restrictions on how far you, as an individual, are allowed to become relevant. Society does not want you to be relevant beyond its control. Society only wants you to be relevant on their terms so they can sabotage you and shut you down anytime they want. The moment you gain a leverage that society can't counsel you at ease, now there's a problem. So, you getting a new job, people say congratulations, you got a new job. You get into a wedlock with someone, so what? You start your own business, some people may get uncomfortable already with that. You publishing a book, think, okay, just publish a book. As long as they don't hear about any book sales, think, okay, fun, you publish the book. But what if one day they hear you got a $1 million deal? Now people maybe get a bit more anxious. What if they hear, oh, you have a lot of book sales all over Asia, all over Australia? Now they think, my goodness, this individual has become culturally relevant. And if we never recognize the talent of this individual, but foreigners do recognize, it's going to look bad on us. But guess what? It's already too late. You already broke through. You already surpassed the restriction they put on you. It comes down to this. Worldlings want to escape. Worldlings want to be left alone. And worldlings become violent when they can't escape. So they submit unto the violence of what we call the authorities, so that they can all have ease. And with this violence, you have all these restrictions enforced on you. Some of these restrictions are backed up by what we call law and law enforcement in prisons. Others are backed up by just making things hard on you socially. We call those unwritten rules. Whether rules are codified in black ink to call them laws or just unwritten rules, society has restrictions. Just to make sure everyone feels left alone, everyone feels like they have the option to escape. The moment you become relevant in a community, but there's something on you to blackmail you, people are at ease because at any time, if you go too far according to them or you say things they don't want to hear, they can cancel you. But let's say now you're not on the payroll of that society, but you have foreign donors donating to you. Now, if they want to cancel you, they'll be attacking an investment of foreigners. So the foreigners will get upset with them. So now they have to go against a whole group. So society always insists on you being restricted in such a way that you can be cancelled anytime. The moment you gain a leverage, whether it's financial, social, or whatever area in life, that makes it hard for society to cancel you, that is a breakthrough. If it's not a leverage that frees you from blackmail of society, then it's not a breakthrough. If you couldn't find work for a while, and now you get a job, that doesn't have to be a breakthrough, unless there was a societal restriction on you that kept you broke. That will be a breakthrough. Let's say you got into a wedlock with someone, or let's say you got married to someone. That doesn't have to be a breakthrough unless it was an actual hinder socially against you. A breakthrough is when you, quote unquote, violate the restriction that the public holds on to. The reason I say violate is because that's how the public will experience it. If you come from a bad neighborhood, a neighborhood that's neglected, who neglects a neighborhood? The community does. Why? Because to have this neighborhood in the city that's neglected means everyone else feels better off. So the public wants this neighborhood to be neglected so they all can look down on it and feel good about themselves. So if you are from that neighborhood, they will associate backwardness with you just because you're from that neighborhood. Is this fair? Is this just? Is this reasonable? No, it's not. But that's how it works. They neglect this area on purpose so they can look down on it and feel good about themselves. So they will enforce this restriction on you. Anytime you apply for a job, you'll see which neighborhood you're from, they tend to consider someone else. Because if you're at the workplace, if you find out you're from that neighborhood, there's a wrong association with it, and a company may also be associated with a bad neighborhood. So people don't want that. But what if you're from this backwards neighborhood that's been made backwards by the public, and one day you break through, become an entrepreneur, and you're not a millionaire, but you're well off financially. And guess what? All the other neighborhoods don't have people like you. All the other neighborhoods only have people working 9 to 5. But you came from this backwards neighborhood, this ghetto, and you broke through financially. Do you think society is going to be happy with you? They're going to be happy that someone like you exists? No. Because the reason why you were hindered so much in your life was because they wanted to escape daily life, and to escape daily life, you needed an example that was worse off. So they decided this neighborhood over here is going to be worse off than all of us. Nobody's going to invest in this neighborhood. Everyone in this neighborhood will be worse off. That was the boundary, that was the restriction society put there. And you're from that neighborhood, so bad luck for you, sad for you, but you just have to put up with what they want. That's how society sees it. The moment you counter a restriction of society, society loses it against you. I'm not talking about things like don't kill, don't steal, and such things. I'm talking about emotional and psychic restrictions. So when you break through, your breakthrough is perceived as a violation. Look at the image in the background. You had this guy who ran through a wall. Normally, when you run towards a wall, you hit the wall and you end up in the hospital. But this guy, he ran through the wall and he broke through the wall. Well, that's how a breakthrough is. The question is, who put the wall there? There's one reason why you put a wall somewhere, is to keep things in. A wall is designed to keep certain things in. And consequently, certain things are kept out. So that is a boundary they enforce by putting that wall over there. That wall serves as a restriction. If you are inside a wall that the public placed there, and you can't get out of that confinement, that means you're imprisoned. You break through that wall, you broke through. That means you shut down the restriction they had over you. And that restriction is something the public relied on to escape. So the moment you break through, you trigger unrest in the public, because now people have to face the fact that, you know what, change can happen, things can improve. We're not automatically better off because we're not from that neighborhood. You know what, that neighborhood may be bad, but we have our own issues too that we need to look at. The public doesn't want this, they just want to be able to escape. You break through, which is a good thing. To them, it's perceived as a violation, and they will retaliate against you with revenge. That's what society does. So I want to remind you of this. Your breakthrough is, from the public's perspective, a violation. Even though it's not a violation in itself, they will perceive it as such. So do not think it's strange when people begin to look angry at you, or people begin to frown upon you, or begin to get upset with you, or try to fight you after you have good news happening to you. You just shut down a restriction they held on to. And because the restrictions are all they have, once they realize that they can't reinforce the restriction, they will lose it on you. They will mark you for dead. That's how the public works. So that's why you need to walk by faith, agree with Christ. You have to be alert about your environment. Some people will fake supporting you. They'll join you not because they actually like you or love you or want to be part of you. They will join you just to hinder you. They realize that it's easier to hinder you by sabotaging you from within than to attack you from the outside. Why are they doing that? Because you, from their perspective, violated their restriction. You trespassed their boundaries by becoming this relevant individual they never asked for. And because of that now, they want to shut you down so they don't have to deal with the backlash on them. But the problem is, nobody told them to have those restrictions, right? Those restrictions are illegitimate. Hey, but that's on them. For you, keep growing in Christ, be at peace, and I'll see you next live stream. Shalom.